I have to do everything myself, so, and I just had knee surgery, so don't let me fall off this stage. I'll be right back. Thank you, you're a sweetheart.
Okay. You want me to hold this end off here?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I need a clicker. I just realized. Oh, I just passed the clicker. Okay, so we're off to a good start. You know where I'm going with this. Oh, I just wish this could be true. I mean, wouldn't this be amazing? I'm so hot in this jacket. Okay, so Scott Adams said, information is gushing toward your brain like a fire hose aimed at a teacup. Now, you know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about information a lot, so I'm also going to talk about this teacup. But first, I have to do something because I want to challenge Eric on the assumption on what the best attire is for the TEDxLansing thing. I was so inspired by John Hill that I, for the first time since I was 12 years old, I'm out $44, and the guy told me that a lot of golfers buy these things. So now I know you're all wondering, as I am. I just wish we could bring. Well, you can see that. You're all wondering, as I am, what the heck would happen to a teacup if you fired that thing at it? And thanks to East Lansing City Manager Ted Staden and the East Lansing Fire Department, you're all going to see this. So this is my theory of what happens. I think I go right. There we go. It'll pulverize the damn thing. So that's my theory, and there was only one way to find this out. Oh, Eric, that's such a cool shirt, by the way. I really want one. I don't know where you got that. So I decided to give these guys a call and see if they'd help me, and so sit back and enjoy what happens to this poor little teacup. Hold on. I need a broom. Slow-mo cam. I feel like I'm in Catholic school again and wearing this thing. And I really hope the air conditioning gets turned up a little bit. And I'm going to break this poor thing. So that was kind of cool. And, you know, again, thanks to the East Lansing Fire Department. It was really cool. So we are here to talk about information. By the way, I discovered the desktop, my laptop cam, and you're going to see a lot of that today. But photos are expensive to buy. So we're going to talk a lot about information. You know, it is coming at us. As everybody here has talked about, with like a fire hose, and it's it comes in all shapes and sizes, and it's expanding like the universe. It just, as a matter of fact, they say that there just aren't enough servers to hold all the information that's being gathered. They can't build them fast enough. But I want to talk about bad news for a second, because I do come from the news business, and I just have to say this because I've always thought it, and there's the news is now there, and so is now on the internet. So we're just every time we log on, there's something bad. People love to say bad things. It's a lot of bad news, and so you just hear much more about what's going on in the world everywhere around you than you ever heard before. You never used to know what was going on across town, let alone in LA or around the world with these little countries. So now you're just sort of feeling bad all the time, and like Haiti and car bombs, and So you feel kind of powerless. There's not much you can do. So then somebody comes along and says, text $10 and you'll save a child. And so we are all texting $10 to the Red Cross. And then we feel better, right? And then we feel good enough to go and text our vote for American Idol, right? It's a twofer right there. So I just sort of, but it doesn't last long, because every time you frickin' check your email, you're seeing another bad video or another horrible story. There are all the good stories too, but you really think about the horrible ones. So what starts to happen is you start to get grief fatigue. You start to you can't do it, you just can't care anymore. And so what happens is you start to feel guilty. And you just start going, oh man, I don't give a shit about Haiti anymore, and I'm a bad person. And I don't know what to do about this. So what I'm here to do, by the way, all I could find was a glue gun, but it served the purpose, I just want to say that, I'm telling you that our brains aren't biologically wired to absorb constant emotional pain. Unless you're married to certain people, it's hard. So I just want to, that was an improvised one there, I just want to say that, Hans, you're listening, that's my brother. I just want to say that, no, Laurel, I love you, I do. That was really bad. I feel like a Bob Hope up here or something. But okay, but anyway, what I'm here to tell you is move on. It's okay to move on. You're going to get over it, because it's only going to get worse. Can you imagine, disasters and bad news in 3D? Well, it's coming as sure as we're here. So forgive yourself for that. When I was a boy, this was the combined knowledge of humanity, at least from a Western perspective. I mean, if you owned one of these, you had the entire knowledge of the world. And, there were daily newspapers, there was research being done at places, but you never saw that stuff. You just saw the paper, kept this. And this was updated once every few years. And nobody could afford the updates, because it wasn't like you just installed it. And so it was, I thought if I could read this, I'd be the smartest boy in the world. So I realized, though, if I were to absorb and actually retain all that knowledge, I'd have to be ginormous, And, you'd need the brain the size of a Buick, and I think hers is pretty up there, So then the internet gets invented, and everybody starts adding their crap into the internet, researchers and the news people, and it's like, wow, forget the Encyclopedia Britannica, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And, so you forget a 50-foot woman, you'd have to be like freaking huge to absorb all of that data. And it just wouldn't really, well, we'll get to this in a second, but let me just talk about those lovely books. Who loves books? Books? Who loves libraries? Love libraries. They're all struggling for funding, so send them money. But in case they don't work, I just want to tell you that there are other opportunities to use libraries for. I did these little drawings of, maybe you can make them into book museums, see the child trying to run away. And you could have people reading book dioramas, bookmobiles. You could make the main reading rooms, miniature golf clubs and have book clubs. But back to the brains. Our brains aren't going to grow. They're pretty much staying about, you're stuck with what you've got. And it's not much for me, I know. And our brains haven't changed much since since Neanderthal days. And so this is the guy who's trying to use the internet. And this is the same guy who you're also trying to communicate with. Speaking of Neanderthals, the news editor was the middleman. They always decided for you what you were going to know that day. I was in that for almost 30 years. So they told you what you were going to get. They looked at all the material. They decided for you because of the limitations of publications and stuff. And they told you, and there was a lot left on the cutting room floor. And that was a crime. Now we're the editors. The middleman is gone. We're our own editors. We can surgically target what we want to know. This is good. We like control and we like choices. But the problem is, it's just all crap out there. Thank God for search engines, but they only take you so far. So there's just so much, you just need so much more control to find this stuff. And it's our fault because we're not just the consumers of this information. We've all become producers of this information. We all have a message that we want to get out there. We want to sell products or have people listen to our stupid opinions. You know what they say about those. And it's like, oh my God, I need following. You know, I need more Facebook followers, and I have to really, you know, communicate my message. So we're trained only in one thing, most of us, and that is that way. It's all words. Blogs. Write about it. I guarantee you, if that little guy singing on the guitar about United Airlines had been a blog piece, no one would have given a shit. It would have been, certainly not United Airlines. So, words and words and words. We've got to force ourselves to look at information differently, you know? So how can we get our messages heard? You know, what can we do to get people to, you know, all that stuff is just flashing before people's eyes. What can you do? Show it. Yeah. With illustrations, photos, and graphics, and I'm going to focus on graphics because that's what I do, but there are a lot of other things, videos. But basically, show it. Why? They notice it, they get it, they remember it. I made this, I baked a pie. And I slapped it on a grid, slapped some other photos on top, and I had a graphic. Then we ate pie. That pie was doomed from the start. The best part is they can scan it. They can just scan it. Your eyeballs can scan it. When you go to the grocery store, I guarantee you, you can walk into the produce section and just go whoosh, whoosh, and you want the green thing, the orange thing, and that blue thing over there. Whatever that blue thing is, I got to have it. And it's like, bam, your eyeballs just sucked in all that information. If you were reading carrots, rutabagas, I mean, it'd take all afternoon. You can scan it. People are going to spend less than 5 seconds on looking at whatever you put in front of them. And you got to stop them in their tracks because there's a lot of shit going in front of their eyes. Sorry, I say shit a lot. That's because I'm nervous. I've never given this talk before. What a week. My brother, Hans, thank you for this. My brother sent this list of where his son, Stuart, is going to be performing in bands, his band all over America, like a few pages of this stuff. It's not alphabetized. I was totally lost. And so I asked him if he could help me out here understanding this, and he tore a map out of an atlas and drew over it with a felt pen and sent me this. Behold the power of visualization. I mean, I'm done here. Thank you, Hans. Do you get it? Bam! That's scannable, right? You get it right away. Ouch! This is what we do right here. Oh, man, they're going to love my article. Woohoo! I'm awesome. But you know what? Even a document, and you know what, by the way, words are important. You know, who hasn't read Faust? And okay, I haven't read Faust, but, you know, like, who hasn't read a lot of stuff? So you basically you can take that, but even a document can be scannable. You don't have to do this. If all you have is words, then, you know, take some time and make it scannable. Use headlines and breakout text and bullet points and all that sort of stuff. And people can scan. It'll freeze them in their tracks. They'll see a little headline. They go, wow, I'm interested in that. So there's more you can do. And then there's even more. You can take that document and pour it into Wordle.com, and it'll tell you which of the most frequently used words based on the size, and you can get a kind of a scanned idea of what that means. You might say, oh, but I'm not an artist, I'm not creative, I don't design, I don't draw, forget about it, you know. Or, hey, I'm not a computer scientist, you know, I can't just solder stuff and make machine things or whatever those people do. And it's like, by the way, they should talk more, the artists and the computer scientists. That would be a great marriage. There's a lot of successful stuff out there that when they have communicated with each other. But you know what? No problem, because there are rules and tools. You live in an age where there's so much help. I guarantee you, if you ask your friends, someone is doing something that you want to do, visualizing it, and they know where to get it and how it's free and stuff. But then there's that technology, right? Everyone's afraid of technology. Like, I don't do computers. There were people who said, I don't do phones. When Alexander Graham Bell, that European dude, like, fought over who invented it. And it's like, I don't do phones. I had employees when I was 24 who were in their 50s, where I am now, who said, I don't do computers. Guess where they are now? Now there are people like, I don't do. You know what? You got to do, or you're going to get buried. If you just keep typing those words, it's a big waste of time to only put out words. It's a convergent world. There are a lot of ways to tell stories. You know, software is hard and expensive. 3D illustration and animation is expensive. And Kevin Hand at Newsweek drew this when we were covering the World Trade Center attack. And you know what? That was really hard. I watched him do that. I can't do that. I'm going to fall off this stupid stage, and this is going to be bad because I just had knee surgery. Okay, I'll go over here. There's over there too, so I'll over here. So it's pretty easy, kind of cheap. So maybe there's a middle thing, videos and cameras, but you got to buy the camera and the video, or at least talk your friends into lending them. I made that video up there with my son here, and we had 3 cameras going, and it was really fun. You have to have fun doing this stuff, or you will never do it again. But this is where we are, and this is all out there, free, easy, cheap. And this is just some, that list would hit the floor, documents, sketches, flowcharts, maps, and timelines and stuff. I do this on a napkin saying, you publish this on a blog, it's going to get a lot more notice than a big 3D thing, because freak, it's on a napkin, and it tells a lot of information. So, there are no limits to what you can do. I'm going to sort of show both sides, This is in the middle, there's a lot of, how many of you have made a Google map here? Look at this, see, call those people, okay? And it's you can locate the World Trade Center ascent, you can put in interactive photography and stuff like that. Do I really only have 2 minutes? Satellites, label it in Microsoft Word, and you are all right-brained in some way. You all have, when you just notice what turns you on and think about it and take notes, and you can probably create that same thing yourself. So really quickly, what should I visualize? I think I have 5 main things, but first of all, ask yourself when you have one of these big documents, can I show, is there an opportunity to show comparison, cause and effect, group things, break things apart to show the details, zoom in and look at something a little bit closer, maybe measure something. There is so much out there on design. Like I said with that pie, I just threw it on a grid, and how do you make something stand out from the other things and use color so that it means something? And then there are the tools I was talking about. I'm collecting these. I've drawn these. I'm probably going to make a poster or something. I don't know. Maybe throw them up on a website. There'll be more. But basically, this is hey, there's all of these visual tools that you can use, and they're all, a lot of them. There are things that compare, and, there's free software. You just plug in the numbers, and that shows up. Oh my God, all I did was type in these numbers, and that showed up. We just have to make that in Adobe Illustrator. You have to go into the art department and ask them to make that. There's Google Fusion tables. There's Google Fusion tables. There's Tableau Public. There are a lot of different softwares that do this, and it's free. But you can make it on graph paper. Pop that into PowerPoint, trace it, label it, or just leave it alone and label it. You can associate things. This is a Venn diagram. Basically, I am artist. I am content and critical thinking. I'm technology. Okay, I'm amazing. And it's great dad could be up there, husband, So it's like infographics journalist, right? That's what makes me what I do. I'm not just a cartoonist. But you can make it with use your breakfast. You don't need a software. Make it out of breakfast. This was done by one of my students, sourced the New York Times, Thomas Hang, and he took his breakfast and made a little pie chart out of what people are eating for breakfast. Show flows, storyboards like comic strips and mind maps like this, or timelines. All sorts of narrative possibilities there. This is a mind map. If you just Google mind map and open source, you'll get a bunch of these things, and they're all free. You can pick your favorite one, and you'll make these amazing structural diagrams that will just expand on your idea. Why keep it in your head when you can expand on it? And then you can print it and pop it into a place. And lastly, there's one other, real world things. You kind of do have to be an artist here, or not. You can just use photography. This was done by one of my students who basically took a bunch of water jugs and said, this is how much water is used in a dishwasher. When you run it, it's no kidding. Damn, I'm still not washing those damn things by hand, though. And last one is locating. Maps have grown up it's amazing. You used to have to be a cartographer to do this. Some of my best friends are cartographers. Sorry, guys, but anyone can do this now. There's free stuff. You can do this. You just go to, ESRI, ArcGIS Explorer, and you combine the map stuff, the location stuff with the data information stuff, and you just put the two together, and you get hurricane paths. Forget Google Maps. That's little stuff compared to this. This is GIS, Geographic Information Systems, and it's free. You don't have to look like a moron every day. You can do this, and just do this once, and everyone will think you're the coolest person forever. For the rest of your life. I make maps out of puddles on sidewalks. I was walking by and went, holy shit, that looks just like the Indian Ocean. And I took, it's the most distributed image. It's the most distributed image I put on Twitter that day. Like 400 people passed this around. I thought, it's wrong, you know? All my geographer friends called and said, that's so wrong, you know? So, you know, basically, you have to take a first step. You have to visualize something. Rather than just contributing to this and adding to that, you know, when all of that stuff is millions of pages and blogs and crap and stuff is passing you, look for opportunities. Instead of doing this, you're doing this. You're pouring you're targeting. And by visualizing information in whatever way you like, you're actually targeting the exact people you want to reach, rather than just blowing all this crap all up. You know, like, hey, I'm going to write 200 words on this. No one wants to read that. Trust me. How many of you get homework? That homework email? Oh my God. My aunt wrote me like 4 pages. All right. That's all I have, everybody. Thank you.